What's up, my ninjas? Strident here, and I'm back with another opinion segment, and this is kind of a new idea I had called Games We Should Make. I know a lot of people are into like the homebrew market, and a lot of people modify games themselves. I don't, but if I did, here are some that I think should be done. So if you recognize those four symbols, then you're like me. You played one of the greatest shooters of all time from the golden age of, the Sega Genesis days, the 16-bit days. And I'm talking about Gunstar Heroes. Now, this game, it was kind of like the showcase for what the Genesis could do. And it was a two-player game. You and your buddy go up against all kinds of crazy contraptions, and you have those four gun types, the four shot types. There's my homeboy I always used. Actually, technically, I was the first player, but I had the other head because I was the fixed shot dude. You had a choice between fixed and free shot. Fixed shot, you stand still and you shoot in directions. Free, you run and you shoot. You only could play as red or blue, but yellow and green were characters you saw in the game. Green was actually someone you fought. Most of the villains had names that, pertained to a color. There was a really lame remake not too long ago called Gunstar Superheroes, where they looked like this shit right here. And it's not good enough. I think there should be a new chapter of the game that takes place years later. We would call it Return to Gunstar 9, as that is the planet that everything took place on. We would introduce a new red, yellow, blue, and green. They would have new weapons, a new look. There'd be more individuality between all the individual Gunstars. New but simple play mechanics. It'd be like Metal Slug if it were an easier game to play. And by easier game, I just mean that you don't die every 5 seconds by every fucking thing. I think it would do extremely well. I mean, each character would have their own type of weapon. Each character would have their own strengths and weaknesses, but nothing that would stop you from playing the game. Everything would be extremely simplistic. One character jumps higher than the others, but all of them can jump off the walls. You know what I mean? Or one character is a little bit faster than the others when it comes to certain attacks, Things like that. And everybody, or, you could even go one step backwards and just, instead of doing what I said, just do the Contra thing and just give everybody a different weapon selection, like Contra Hardcore. I think that would be awesome. But just imagine, a 2.5D shooter like this, with the insanity of Gunstar Heroes and the lightheartedness of Gunstar Heroes, with these kind of designs, with animated cutscenes in between, missions, and several engine changes, because that was one of the cool things about this game. The first 3 stages you play, or first 4 stages, I'm sorry, they were side-scrolling shooter stages where you're running around shooting, like platforming and shooting. It wasn't heavy on the platforming, but it was an element. And then there was even close quarters combat, because when you jump, you did stuff, and if you did a half circle forward and your shoot button, your characters had this dashing attack that when they slide into whatever is in front of them, it did damage. But anyway, what if we took that a step further, And, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. Anyway, the engines. There was one extra engine in the game, and that's towards the end. After you beat the 4 initial stages, you have to fly to the carrier ship that the villains have Yellow on, because Yellow gets kidnapped. And then the game becomes like R-Type for a little while. And you have like a special move where if you and the player 1 and player 2 press your warp button, because that was your special thing, you had this warp button where if you're playing by yourself, it just would allow you to fly in any direction really fast. But if you're playing two players, one person would control the ship while the other one controls this hovering gun pod in front of the ship that only can move around the ship, and it also can block enemy fire. Now imagine if we could do something like that with today's type of technology and today's graphics, and we could play this kind of game, 4 players, so we could get maybe 2 ships or a bigger ship with more capabilities, have the action switching from the R-type view to the inside, where you have to jump from station to station while one person pilots the thing, kind of like missions in Lost Planet. Anyway, you had this special move where if both of you press your warp button at the same time, you became invincible as you moved in the direction that you moved. Simple stuff, What if we kept all that, but the game was just 2.5D? So the camera did tricks and craziness, or we did the whole flash animation thing for special moves and some of the cinematic stuff to give it a look similar to Super Robot Wars. Just imagine that, That would be fucking awesome. And it's a shame because, no one's thinking about that. And this was one of my issues with the way games evolved. We skipped updating two-dimensional games, because imagine a 2.5D Symphony of the Night. You get what I'm saying? They didn't do that. They just skipped to 3D. Whereas there were side-scrolling games and beat-em-ups that could have actually benefited from this. And I think Gunstar Heroes would be a prime example of, or a prime candidate, I'm sorry, for this sort of thought process. So I don't know. Somebody out there watching this might have, the means to make this happen. And if you do, and you need someone to do these designs and you want to use these designs, go ahead and do it. Credit me. Let me know that, you used my designs. Give me some type of shout out and let me know that, you've noticed. I would love to sit around and come up with ways for this stuff to work and be a part of something like this, You've seen what people did with the Streets of Rage remake. I think Gunstar Heroes could be that, that game, and this is just a thought. Obviously, these kind of things take a lot of time and a lot of resources, sometimes not even that much resources, because, these are old properties that don't really involve that much graphical updating. But, it would be really fun to see someone go back and make return to Gunstar 9. Just imagine we come up with different gun types, different shot types, combinations of shot types that do different things that we didn't have in the original ones. Extra, power-ups and extra icons for things that you pick up to, hurt your enemies, crazy enemies. I could come up with shit for this all day. So anyway, I just wanted to put this out there and see, let people hear what's been going on in my head. All this artwork you saw was done by me. This was done it was a portfolio piece. I was trying to do an internship for years ago. I was trying to get portfolio stuff done for several different companies, and this helped me get a job working for one of those companies. So well, this amongst other stuff, but this was just showing that I could dumb down my style a little bit and have it be a little bit more cartoony. So anyway, hit me up, let me know what you think. All right, I got my idea out there, and I will talk to you later. All right, peace, people.